Johnson. He's down to the goal line. He's over.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video, and welcome to the Gridiron. And before I get started, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who's been watching my videos. Maybe subscribe to my channel, maybe give my videos a thumbs up, or left a comment, or anything at all. I greatly appreciate it. I'm just trying to get my channel up and running, and anything you guys can do to help me get my channel up and running, I greatly appreciate it. So thank you so much. Thank you. I saw a couple articles today. He was talking about some type of like rumor, like would Dave Gettleman consider trading the defensive star in the summertime? Like some type of blockbuster trade. And I saw another things talked about an article which was talking about Jabrill Peppers, and they're going over, kind of about the same thing, and it's kind of interesting. I mean, man, makes you scratch your head. Makes you think a little bit. I mean, they were talking about, that like how the Giants really only have, according to the article, they have about $2.4 million in cap space going into the season. That ain't much. I mean, if some guys start going down, basically you got enough money to sign like 3 guys to the league minimum, about the league minimum, So you're not. I mean, you could try to move some money around a little here, a little there, but I mean, as far as anything really big, bringing in a big time free agent or or anybody, it's going to make things very, very difficult. Now they said we're talking about, were to trade Jabrill Peppers, that would save him $6.8 million toward the cap space this year. So then if you combine it to the 2.4 and the 6.8, that would give you $9.2 million in cap space. So that would be pretty good. The 9.2. I mean, that's still not ideal, because I remember Gettleman saying it before in the past. He wanted, I guess, in a perfect situation, he wanted like about $15 or $20 million going into the season cap space. So I mean, that's an ideal situation. But I mean, if they were to get rid of Peppers, they also pointed out in the article, they said, because they got Logan Ryan, right? They got the X-Man, Xavier McKinney, and then they're trying to find snaps for Julian Love. I mean, they keep drafting these cornerbacks, and it makes it tougher and tougher for Julian Love to find any snaps in the cornerback position. Then they, I mean, you got guys, this year. I mean, there's some guys. There's like 4 main guys that may not be here next year. So you got Jabrill Peppers, Will Hernandez, Lorenzo Carter, and Evan Ingram. Now you could try to trade Evan Ingram. He would be, I mean, other teams can certainly see the value in him. The problem is that for us anyway, it would be hard to replace him on our roster. We have a boatload of tight ends, but none of them can do exactly what he does. Even if you think, even if he just say he continues with the dropsies, you still have to cover the guy. It's not like he's going to the line of scrimmage and you're like, it's Evan Ingram. Yep, all you, brother. You run whatever route you want. We're not going to put nobody on you because you're not going to catch the ball. They don't do that. They have to cover him, and he's a mismatch. We got Kyle Rudolph, but Kyle Rudolph ain't doing what he can do. Caden Smith ain't doing what he's done. I mean, these guys we got, nobody can do what he does. I mean, also which includes dropping a lot of balls too. But so it's tough for us to replace him, especially if we're trying to give Daniel Jones, a good opportunity to succeed, this year. So it's kind of tough to replace him. Now Lorenzo Carter, we may not sign him next year, so maybe try to trade him. Be kind of tough because he he has some potential, which a lot, but really hasn't seen it yet. He's been hurt. Hasn't done absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I don't, if I'm sure somebody would take him, but I mean, what are you gonna, get for him? Maybe a 5th round pick, right? I mean, if that, we have we got a boatload of edge rushers, so we could replace him on our roster, but what I'm saying, in return, what are you going to get for him? Then you got Will Hernandez, same thing there. He may not be here next year, but who on our roster, who are you going to really replace him with? And if we try to trade him, what's somebody going to? I mean, I'm sure we could find a trade partner. He's still on his rookie contract. So he's very affordable. But I mean, what are you going to get in return for him? A 5th rounder? A 6th round? I mean, the one that makes the most sense, would be Jabrill Peppers, because he's making. Well, I mean, we did sign Evan Ingram to his 5th year as well. But I mean, with Jabrill Peppers, we can do a better job, I think, replacing Jabrill Peppers than we could Evan Ingram. I mean, I know we got a boatload of tight ends, but there's no tight end on the roster that can do what Evan Ingram does. Plain and simple. End of story. Jabrill Peppers, he has his own special skill sets at all too. But I mean, we do have between Love, McKinney, Logan Ryan. We got guys that we could possibly, fill his void. And if we can, trade him and maybe get something in return for him right now, wouldn't that be better? Is what they were pointing out in the article too. Trade him now and get something for him now, or maybe a draft choice. Maybe a good draft choice, maybe next year's draft, and keep stockpiling. Instead of waiting for like a compensatory pick for him. I mean, then we have to, we have to go, and then we have to let him go. Somebody's got to pick him up, and he's got to play, and then we get a pick for him. Like it would be like 2023, I believe it would be. So that's what they were saying. So it's like, if he's not in the long-term plans, might be better off to maybe let him go now or trade him now and get something for more immediately. Whether it's another player. Or whether it's maybe a nice juicy draft pick in next year's draft, and you can save yourself maybe $6.8 million on the cap. Peppers, had a very good year last year. They said he had 91 tackles, 11 pass breakups, 1 interception. You can, play him in the box. He's a Patrick Graham special. I mean, he's one of those wonderful chess pieces. You can put him quite a few different places on the defense. But I mean, like with Shepard, Sterling Shepard. Yeah, I mean, he just, not that we want to, but I mean, we did draft Kadarius Toney. I mean, you just can't, can't just let him go, to save some cap space. I mean, because I think his salary this year is $9 million. His dead cap space, if you just let him go, is $10 million. So if you let him go, you not only would lose him, you would be losing money as well. But I think that they let him go, just let him go next year. I think he's only $4 million cap space, dead cap hit next year. So they could, just let him go. But that would be next year. We're looking at like this year. The thing is with Sterling Shepard is, somebody would have to take on his contract. And, as I said, the way the salary cap is, it's kind of, going to be kind of difficult for, for some team to take on his salary cap, or to take on his salary. Now, then you go back to the things with Dave Gettleman. We got a lot of wide receivers. We got a decent amount of safeties. We got cornerbacks. We're stockpiled. Dave Gettleman obviously said in the past, you can never have too many good players in one position. But I mean he also said about with Odell Beckham Jr. We didn't sign a guy to trade him, and what happened shortly after that? He got traded. So, I mean, you can never have too many good players in a position. Absolutely. I mean, and what we got at the cornerbacks, what we got the wide receivers, what we got in the safety position is absolutely phenomenal. And we're stockpiled, which is great. The problem is that we only got $2.4 million going into the season as far as salary. And you go look at next year too. Next year, we got a boatload of money already coming out already. We don't have a lot of wiggle room next year either. So we're going to have to start somewhere along the line. We're going to have to start letting go of some guys, unfortunately. And whether it's, letting trading, trying to get rid of Jabrill Peppers, or maybe trading Sterling Shepard or something, somewhere along the line, we're going to have to start doing something. I mean, this is a huge, huge year. I mean, can Saquon stay healthy? I mean, we got him signed for the 5th year, but can he stay healthy? If he can't stay healthy this year or next year, are we going to want to try to sign him? We gave Daniel Jones all these firepower. What's he going to do? If he can do good, I mean, he's going to want probably at least $30 million, right? I said, and all those other guys I was just listing, Peppers, Hernandez, Carter, Ingram. I mean, are we going to be able to sign any of those guys? Or are we going to want to sign any of those guys? We got, Lemieux. How's he going to do? Are we going to need to replace him next year? Parrott. I mean, I hope not. But I mean, how's he going to do this year? We're going to have to replace him. So this is a huge year. A lot of decisions to be made at the end of this year. But the only thing right now is, we're about a week away from training camp. I can't wait for it to start. And just, the best thing is just to let the season play out and, let the chips fall where they may. And we'll see where things go from there. But, I mean, do I think they're going to trade Peppers? Probably not. I mean, I've seen a couple articles talking about just getting rid of him. I'd have a hard time believing that. But one thing I do consider, see happening is something to free up a little bit more cap space, because $2.4 million going into a season is not much at all. Well, as always, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. You guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo!